Stand at the foot of a towering desert dune at the exact moment it starts to roar, and I promise you, it feels like you're experiencing something impossible. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into one of the most visceral mysteries of the natural world. Picture this. You're surrounded by thousands of tons of completely lifeless rock, dead silence, and then, suddenly, the entire landscape around you just begins to sing. Now, what you're hearing here isn't just some faint rustle of the wind. No, it's this deep, sustained note. It sounds kind of like something caught right between a low-flying propeller plane and a massive, vibrating cello. And the craziest part? You don't just hear it. You literally feel it. It's a physical reality. You can feel this intense vibration traveling right up through the soles of your feet. It's this booming, humming force of nature that's been terrifying travelers for centuries. In fact, this phenomenon was so bizarre, so totally unexplainable, that some of history's absolute greatest explorers were completely baffled by it. Marco Polo, he heard this roaring in the Gobi Desert and straight up blamed evil spirits trying to lure travelers to their doom. And centuries later, even the hyper-analytical Charles Darwin recorded this exact same booming sound from a hill in Chile. The locals there ominously called it the bellower. So, for nearly 700 years, this acoustic anomaly was just filed away as a spooky, supernatural ghost story. But honestly, the actual physics are far weirder than ghosts. Okay, to understand exactly how dead sand can sing, we really have to throw out our basic intuitions and look at what sand actually is. It's what physicists call granular matter. And granular matter lives in this bizarre physical no man's land. It absolutely refuses to commit to being a solid, a liquid, or a gas. Think about it. We have these tidy, highly predictable equations for how water flows, right? Or how steel bends. But sand? Sand completely ignores all of that. If you pour a cup of dry sugar or sand onto a table, it behaves just like a solid, piling up into a neat little cone. But if you just tilt that table a fraction too far, that solid suddenly breaks. It avalanches, behaving exactly like a chaotic, flowing liquid. To actually grasp how this fluid movement happens, we gotta zoom way, way down, like microscopic level, between zero point 0.1 and 0.3 millimeters. That's the typical size of a single grain of wind-blown sand, basically roughly the width of a human hair folded over twice. But here's the kicker. Because these grains have been tumbled around by the wind for thousands and thousands of years, they're perfectly rounded and highly polished. They function exactly like microscopic ball bearings. So when a brisk walking breeze hits these tiny ball bearings, they don't just roll. Above a certain wind speed, they undergo a violently energetic process called saltation. First, a grain gets violently lifted by the wind. Second, it arcs forward in a shallow trajectory. Third, it slams right back down into the dune bed. And fourth, that impact transfers so much energy that it erupts several other grains into the air, causing them to do the exact same thing. And this creates what geologists call a saltation carpet. The entire surface of the desert literally erupts into this self-sustaining chain reaction. It's a knee-high cloud of jumping, colliding particles just hugging the ground. Imagine a giant pan of popcorn rapidly bursting all at once. That frantic, microscopic leaping, that is the raw engine driving every single dune on Earth and even on Mars. Now, the magic number in all this movement is 34 degrees. This is known as the angle of repose. As those jumping grains climb up the windward side of a sand pile, they eventually fall over the crest into a calm pocket of dead air, and they pile up and up, getting steeper and steeper until the slope hits exactly 34 degrees. That's the mathematical tipping point. Right at 34 degrees, dry sand simply cannot support its own weight anymore, and the entire face of the dune collapses in a slow avalanche. This constant process, the wind stripping sand from the front and then avalanching it down the back, leads to a totally mind-bending reality. A dune isn't a static heap of material. It's actually just a shape. It's exactly like a backward crawling traffic jam on a highway. Every individual car or grain of sand is moving forward, but the overall shape of the jam is slowly crawling backward, or, in the case of the dune, migrating relentlessly downwind. And the slow-motion destructive power of these moving granular fluids, it's absolutely terrifying. Dunes in the Sahara can migrate up to 30 meters in a single year. They aren't just blowing around, they're actively marching across the landscape. They will devour asphalt roads, they'll swallow major oil pipelines whole, and they can entirely consume oasis villages, literally burying them alive, grain by grain. But When you zoom out from the microphysics of those individual jumping grains, you start to notice something amazing. The macro shapes they form, they aren't random at all. The wind uses these migrating piles of sand to write a permanent geographical language onto the surface of the earth. It's a hidden grammar, written entirely in shifting sand. This hidden grammar builds into 4 distinct shapes, and it's purely a product of sand availability and wind direction. Transverse dunes form like ocean waves when the wind is steady. Barchan dunes form crescents. Linear, or safe dunes, form these long, sinuous ridges when winds compete. And star dunes form complex pyramids. Without even measuring a single gust of wind, a geologist can look at these shapes from a satellite and instantly read the historical wind patterns of an entire region. I want to highlight the barchans specifically, those crescent-shaped dunes, because they form when sand is scarce. Their thin, low-mass outer edges literally race ahead of their thicker, heavier centers. That's what gives them their distinct horn shape, pointing downwind. And because of this mass distribution, barchans are the absolute fastest movers in the desert. They're basically the crescent-shaped cheetahs of the dune world. Now contrast those racing barchans with the star dunes. When chaotic winds blow from multiple different directions throughout the year, the sand can't migrate in a straight line. So instead, it just piles upward, forming these massive multi-armed granular pyramids. Some of these star dunes reach a staggering 300 meters tall, and unlike the barchans, they stay relatively put, anchoring themselves in place for thousands of years. Okay, so we know how dunes move and grow, but how do they sing? Well, the mythical booming sound actually requires a highly specific, incredibly rare recipe. The vast majority of dunes out there are totally silent. To get that roar, the sand grains must be remarkably uniform in size. They must be perfectly rounded. They need a microscopic varnish of silica or iron oxide, and crucially, they must be exceptionally dry. When you have that perfect recipe in a hyper-arid desert, the acoustic magic happens during an avalanche. Whether the dune collapses naturally, or maybe a person just slides down the slip face, a surface layer of sand begins to shear over the stationary sand beneath it. But because the grains are so perfectly uniform, they don't tumble randomly. They lock into place. Millions of them begin to collide in perfect synchrony. The dune effectively plays itself, just like a colossal violin bow dragging across a string. This massive synchronous collision creates a coherent pressure wave in the air, pushing a measurable, pure tone out into the desert. The frequency of this booming song usually sits exactly between 70 and 105 hertz. It's a precise, measurable musical note generated entirely by shifting rocks. How wild is that? And what exactly determines that note? The physical size of the sand grains themselves. If you have smaller, tightly uniform grains, they pack a tighter rhythm when they avalanche, which produces a higher pitched frequency. It works on the exact same acoustic physics as a guitar. Pluck a shorter string, you get a higher pitch. The physical dimensions literally dictate the desert song. Now, understanding all of this saltation and acoustic physics, it isn't just some fun academic exercise. It has massive real-world impacts. Advancing sand constantly threatens modern railways along the old Silk Road in China. But by understanding that saltation chain reaction, engineers can now build exact straw checkerboard barriers to starve the dunes of their sand supply. Plus, researchers are using the frequency of singing dunes as a diagnostic tool. By listening to the pitch, they can literally scan the internal health, size, and condition of a dune without ever picking up a shovel. And mind-blowingly, we're now taking these exact same physics to space. NASA orbiters have photographed dunes on Mars, visibly shifting over the years. This means saltation is happening under an atmosphere that is less than 1% as thick as Earth's. The red planet isn't just a dead rock, it is geologically alive, actively sculpting its surface using the exact same fluid mechanics we see in the Sahara. When you strip it all back, what we're really looking at here is simple, unintelligent matter creating incredibly intelligent behavior. Think about it. No single grain of sand has a brain. No single grain knows how to calculate a 34-degree angle of repose, or how to build a 300-meter-tall star dune, or how to lock arms with 1 billion of its neighbors to sing a perfect 70 hertz note. Yet together, they do all of these things perfectly. This is due to a magical scientific concept called emergence. It's the idea that simple parts, like identical sand grains, just following the basic rules of gravity and friction, can spontaneously generate incredibly complex, organized, lifelike behavior entirely on their own. There's no leader, there's no blueprint. A massive, perfectly ordered system crystallizes completely out of chaos. And honestly, that puts those centuries-old ghost stories to rest for good. When Marco Polo and Charles Darwin heard those roaring deserts, they weren't hearing evil spirits or mythical monsters. They were bearing witness to the incredible, self-organizing math of nature. The booming dune is quite literally just the sound of physics teaching itself to dance. So I want to leave you with a thought to chew on today. We've seen how simple friction, wind, and tiny rocks can self-organize into towering, singing geological machines. So I ask you, if lifeless dust in a harsh desert can teach itself to sing a perfect, sustained musical note, what other simple, silent things all around us in the universe are just waiting to reveal a hidden symphony? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your ears open.